Welcome to episode 18 of A New Way to Love, Live, and Lead. I'm your host, Cheryne Blom, a master coach, author, speaker, and the founder of the Self Mastery Hub, your center for self-inquiry, healing, and growth. This podcast is here to remind you that midlife is an awakening, a time to come home to you. And this season, season 2, we are diving deep into the art of self-connection, the inner blueprints of how we build a life that feels true, empowered, and aligned with our essence. And today's conversation takes us into the heart center of our roadmap. We've been talking about the layers of self-connection, self-awareness, self-respect, self-trust. Today we're going deeper as we discuss self-worth and self-compassion. These two layers together form the foundation of real, authentic self-love. And I'm not talking about the bubble bath version of self-love, but the soul-aligned, transformational kind that changes how you show up in every part of your life. And most people talk about self-love as something you do or something you feel about yourself. But in this episode, we're going deeper, beyond that ego's version of self-love, and we're going into the truth. Self-love isn't something you do. It's something you return to. Because at your core, beneath all conditioning and fear, you are a heartbeat. That heartbeat is the home of your essence. I like to think of it this way. I like to think of the essence as the tiny little blip we see on a pregnancy ultrasound. That tiny blinking light. That tiny blinking light tells us that that's the sign of life. But it doesn't show us a body or a personality. It's simply a blinking light. That heartbeat carries the blueprint of who we really are. We're not a body. We're not a personality. We are that beautiful heartbeat. It is like a divine microchip of life. And if we go deeper and we look at what is powering that heartbeat, we can see that we are connected to a greater universal source of energy that is pumping life force into us. It is empowering and giving life to that blinking heart. And this universal source of energy is pure energy. And we can call that pure energy love and light. It is innocent. It is absolute pure energy. And so in the innermost core of yourself is love. That is self-love. You are love. Not metaphorically, energetically, spiritually. Your essence is love. And when you are connected to yourself, you experience love naturally. You become the expression of love. But why don't we feel this way? And you remember in season 1, I spoke about the difference between the ego and the essence, and the ego perspective and the way that we see the world when we're in our essence. But when we're seeing life through the eyes of the ego, fear, trauma, conditioning, and self-abandonment disconnect us from our essence. And when we are disconnected, we forget who we are. It's almost like fear can be seen as the forgetting of the essence, like we become a shadow of ourselves. And when we are disconnected, we fall into the fear and shame, self-comparison, self-doubt, striving, and self-abandonment. When you're disconnected, you make choices from fear. When you are connected, you operate from your soul. And today, we're reconnecting to the truth of who you are. And we are remembering. And that is what self-worth is, remembering who you already are. Self-worth is not about feeling good about yourself. Self-worth is about understanding the truth. You were born worthy. Nothing has ever changed that. But somewhere along the way, usually in childhood, we create what I call the terms and conditions of our self-worth. I did speak about this in season 1, and I'll just summarize again here, because our terms and conditions of our self-worth is an inner contract that sounds something like this. I am worthy when I achieve. I am loved when I perform. I am safe if I please others and make them happy. I belong when I don't make waves and when I am accepted by others. These conditions become invisible rules we spend our lives trying to fulfill. They're not our truth. They are the story that we created. But midlife reminds us, these conditions were never real. They were coping mechanisms, not truths. Self-worth in midlife is the invitation to say, I no longer need to earn the right to exist. I am enough because I exist. Self-worth is not a feeling. It's a recognition. And society's definition of self-worth and self-love is completely different to this. Because society's definition of self-love speaks more to the ego trying to prove its worth or earn love. We're told to accept ourselves, believe in ourselves, trust ourselves, be kind to ourselves. And all of this matters. This is foundational. This is the psychological layer of self-love, a healthy ego structure grounded in self-worth, self-respect, self-trust, self-acceptance. It's important because without it, we become emotionally fragile. We seek validation, we overperform, we people please, we abandon ourselves. But this is only the surface of self-love. The deeper layer is where transformation begins. And the next layer is what I refer to as self-compassion. Self-compassion is the bridge that connects you to your essence. Self-compassion is the practice that makes self-worth possible. And most people think of compassion as softness or pity. But self-compassion is one of the strongest emotional skills you will ever build. Self-compassion allows you to interrupt your inner criticism, comfort your nervous system, build inner safety, recover faster from setbacks, regulate emotions with grace, heal old wounds, break the cycle of shame. To me, self-compassion is loving detachment. Compassion is the ability to witness what you are feeling inside of you without becoming that emotion. It is detachment with love, not attaching to the story, but witnessing it with your presence. It's acceptance without collapse, seeing reality without shame or resistance. It's grace instead of self-attack, meeting your flaws as part of your humanity. It's forgiveness instead of punishment, letting yourself be in progress rather than perfection. It's curiosity instead of judgment. Asking, what is this part of me needing instead of what is wrong with me? Compassion is the antidote to judgment. Judgment contracts you. Compassion expands you. Compassion is also the antidote to anger. Anger is a shield. It's a protector. Compassion softens that shield, allowing you to meet yourself and others with understanding. Compassion is nervous system regulation. It brings your body back into safety, where clarity, healing, and connection become possible. Compassion is forgiveness. Forgiveness of your younger self who didn't know better. Forgiveness of your present self who is still learning. Forgiveness of your human self who is imperfect, beautifully so. Self-compassion isn't necessarily about being kinder. It's about being truer. Because when you stop attacking yourself, you can finally hear yourself. And when you can hear yourself, you can finally return to love. And remember, self-love is returning to the self that is love. This is essence love, not ego love. This is who you were before fear. So let's bring this all together. Authentic self-love is not a result of doing more. It's the natural expression of your essence when you are connected. When you connect, you remember your worth. You soften with compassion. You act from alignment. You embody love. And self-love is not a destination. It is a homecoming. And so your reflection question this week is to take a breath and ask yourself, am I loving myself from ego or from essence? Where am I withholding compassion from myself? Where have I forgotten my inherent worth? Let your answers rise gently. And I'd love to offer you this self-connection ritual of the week. Sit quietly and place your hands on your heart. Take a few deep breaths. Feel the pulse of your heartbeat and let that rhythm of your heartbeat echo in your hands. Feel that rhythm. That rhythm is your pure expression. That rhythm is you, the sound of your authentic self. And just imagine traveling into your heart and feeling this pure light and love. And as you are feeling it, remind yourself, I am enough. I am light. I am love. And I am coming home to myself. Feel this shift. Your essence is always there to answer you. And if this episode touched something inside of you, please remember to follow and rate this podcast. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And here's what I would love you to remember from this episode. Self-worth is remembering who you are. Self-compassion is how you return when you forget. Self-love is the state you live in when you are connected. So self-love is not a destination. It's the truth of who you are restored. Thank you for joining me on a new way to love, live, and lead. And remember, you're not too late. You're right on time. And your best, most connected, loving chapter begins right now.